Hello everyone. This is the 15th part of the story, Marvel Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Chapter 109, Preparation. Bruce knew that the Avengers were not suspecting him, but they tried to find a way from him. The way to deal with the twins. They suffered a heavy loss at the hands of the twins because they didn't know much about the twins. Especially for Scarlet Witch, who had injected the things that they feared the most in their minds. If they could find a breakthrough, they would definitely be more successful in the following battles. If you've been in contact with them before, you can tell us something about them. Captain America looked at Bruce, and so did the others. In the previous battles, Bruce was the only one that was not affected. Of course, the biggest reason was that the Avengers knew Bruce was immune to spiritual control. Therefore, in the following battles, he was able to fight with ease. They had little information about the twins, so they could only learn more about them from Bruce. Bruce had already guessed this, and began to explain with a trace of smile on his face. In his words, only he and the twins survived. Although they didn't have much contact with each other, the twins trusted him very much. Because they had been controlled by Loki's scepter. Bruce didn't attack them directly before. In this regard, what Bruce said was half-truths. If they investigated later on, it was of no use at all. Since both Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch trusted him very much, the Avengers could only think so. So, the twins can be our teammates? Captain America got the key information, and immediately found out the possibility of dealing with Ultron. Bruce nodded. But what he indicated was when the twins were out of Loki's scepter's control. At this time, Captain America's fighting spirit was rekindled again. He wanted to take action as soon as possible. But now the Avengers were not in a good spirit. If they wanted to take action, they couldn't make it within a short time. Now, the only option left was to wait for everyone to recover, or for them to be ready. As for Bruce's powerful skill, they didn't suspect very much. They had already seen the strength of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch before. Bruce could possess super skills, moreover, this is the common battle, so they had no doubt at all. Captain, I suggest we should take a break first. Bruce glanced at the Avengers around him. Captain America nodded. Now, Black Widow, Thor and he were all in low spirits. Only by getting rid of the influence of that memory could they recover themselves. Hawkeye had said that he had a safe place, so they planned to take a rest. In the following days, everybody began to rest, especially those who were affected by Scarlet Witch. Bruce closed his eyes as well, recalling the battle between him and Hulk. In many aspects, he was better than Hulk, whether in terms of defensive power or in terms of speed. Moreover, he had the skill to control thunder and lightning, so he was able to face the crazy Hulk before. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't have the same strength. Even Thor without a hammer couldn't do that. After all, Thor's own skill had not yet been fully awakened. Especially for his terrifying war god body, which even Hulk couldn't break through his defense. In this regard, he was completely the winner. The only thing that Bruce was not as strong as Hulk was his strength. After all, Hulk's power was so strong that even Thor wouldn't be able to resist it. He was almost a monster that was beyond our imagination. Bruce's power was already terrifying, but when it came to battling against Hulk, his strength was still not as strong as Hulk. So next, he had to increase his fighting skills. And then, he would have defeated Hulk in all aspects. But now, the skill that Bruce had been looking for wasn't just to download, but to integrate. Only the integrated skill was the most terrifying and powerful. How strong he would be in the future would depend on whether the skill he had integrated was powerful. After analyzing his own strength, Bruce had a rough understanding of himself. In terms of comprehensive strength, he was more powerful than the Avengers now. It could be said that this power was literally beyond Earth level. But what Bruce wanted to do was to perfect things in all aspects. Whether in terms of speed, defensive power, attack, or battle techniques, they were all close to a perfect level. Now, what he was considering was not just to deal with Thanos later, but whether there would be more powerful enemies after Thanos. According to Bruce's understanding of Marvel, even in the film world, those strong characters would definitely appear later once all the tasks were finished. And this was the most important thing. He had to make himself more powerful. As for the strongest person on the earth, as well as the person Bruce knew, there was only one existed. That was the master of Doctor Strange, and the current Supreme Master, Gu-Yi. He was a truly terrifying existence, who could match with the Lord of Asgard, Odin. If Gu-Yi had not voluntarily given up his life, it could be impossible for Thanos to gather 6 infinite gems. Doctor Strange might surpass Gu-Yi later, but at least not now. After Avengers, Age of Ultron was completed, it was time for him to prepare for the next stage. The most important thing was to find Gu-Yi. He didn't need to be Gu-Yi's apprentice, but just downloaded the skills of Gu-Yi. When Bruce thought of this, he had already confirmed the general direction. At the same time, the fighter jet also stopped and was landing continuously. Now it was daytime. The golden sunshine in the morning made people relaxed. Hawkeye landed the plane and took the crowd out of the plane. In front of them was a small house, and everything around it looked very beautiful. It made the Avengers who had been in a constant state of anxiety feel happy. "Batten, is this the safe place you mentioned?" Captain America was a little surprised. He really didn't know that Batten had such a place. Hawkeye led them into the house, with a smile on his face. Outside the house, a middle-aged woman was waiting quietly with 2 children. This was his wife and 2 children. When the people present heard the news, they all had a strange look on their faces. Hawkeye had hidden his family so deeply this time that no one present knew about them. When other people heard the news, they were all happy for him. As an agent, having a family was a rare thing. But Hawkeye did it, and everyone felt happy. Bruce just shook his head in response. All these beautiful things would be destroyed soon with a snap of a finger. Chapter 110, Steady. Of course, the things that Bruce knew wouldn't happen now. When others entered the room, they noticed that there was something wrong with Thor's face. He remembered something that had happened in his dream before and immediately walked out of the house. Thor? Captain America looked at Thor and was somewhat worried about him. Now the team was not very stable, so no matter what, they couldn't afford to have any accidents. "I want to find some answers, and I can't find the answers here." After saying that, Thor directly left the place. The others did not say anything and they began to have a rest. The blow they suffered before was really heavy. Without recuperation, it was difficult for them to fight again. Dr. Banner left alone, and the fact that he had transformed into Hulk before had already been exposed to everyone. This was a huge blow to him, so he had to calm down. Natasha Romanoff knew this place before, so she was not surprised. She was playing with the child. As for others, Captain America and Iron Man helped Hawkeye tidy up the house. It was incredible that a legendary hero and a billionaire were helping to chop wood at this time. Bruce, who was standing at the side, had no intention to help them. Among all the people present, he was the most relaxed. "What should we do next? The enemy has torn us apart." Iron Man looked at Captain America and said that this incident gave him a heavy blow. "You create Ultron. That's your plan. I don't want to find out too much about it. After all, it has already happened." Captain America was chopping firewood with an axe. With his powerful strength, it was easy for him to do this kind of thing. Bruce listened to their discussion quietly and did not have any intention of speaking. "Do you know what the enemies we'll face in the future will look like? I'm also protecting the Earth and carrying out my plan. It's impossible to rely on just one Avenger to do it." After Iron Man had heard the criticism in Captain America's words, a trace of impatience appeared on his face. His intention was good, but many things were not under his control. The result was not what he wanted. "Maybe you'll find a better way. We're a team." Captain America also understood Iron Man's feelings. He knew clearly how this thing had happened. After all these battles, there were always some people who felt tired. "Mr. Stark, there is something wrong with my car. Bolton says you wouldn't mind." At this time, Hawkeye's wife appeared. She looked at Iron Man with somewhat embarrassment. It was really a difficult thing to ask a billionaire to help them chop wood and repair the car. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." After saying that, Iron Man went straight to the warehouse. Bruce knew that Fury was about to appear, and all of this was under his expectations. Captain America did not do anything, but continued to follow the orders. At this moment, in another secret research base, Ultron stood in the lab. In front of him, a huge living space had been opened now. A red body was lying there and sealed by all kinds of electric wires and genes. And Ultron completely broke through the Loki scepter and took out the yellow mind gem inside. Human beings have always been so stupid. They never know what they want to have. Ultron put the mind gem directly on the forehead of the body. This was what he had been searching for all the time. He wanted to become an even more powerful existence. The Scarlet Witch and the Quicksilver stood aside, looking at each other without saying anything. All of this was going according to the plan that Bruce had given the twins before. When Ultron put the mind gem on the body, the Scarlet Witch slowly approached him. There were glimmers of red light in her hands, which slowly gathered on the mind gem. Due to her power, the mind gem had been affected a little. "We've finished Mr. Bruce's plan." The Scarlet Witch laughed in her heart. She had done what she had to do. The next thing they needed to do was to find a way to return to Bruce's side. Of course, the Scarlet Witch was not in a hurry on this point. "What do you want to do?" Ultron sensed something strange about Scarlet Witch, so he asked at once. The Scarlet Witch was taken aback, but she calmed down soon. "I'm trying to comprehend the birth of a truly great life form." She hid her emotions very well, and Ultron did not suspect her. He just quietly looked at the body in the living space. It would be his rebirth and become a real life. At that time, his plan would go smoother. Everything was under Bruce's control. Now that everything had been done, in terms of creating the Ultron, he only needed to wait for the final step. In the House of Hawkeye, the arrival of Nick Fury had provided the Avengers with important information. They had already confirmed what Ultron was going to do. "We must control him. So no matter what, we can't fail this time." Captain America looked at the people present. After a few days of rest, everyone's will to fight had recovered. As for Thor, they knew that he would come back at the critical time. "Bruce, we're going to attack. Will you join us?" The Black Widow looked at Bruce and said. For them now, Bruce was indispensable and an important fighting force. "Of course." Bruce laughed. Ultron should have created the body of Vision. The Scarlet Witch and the Quicksilver had completed their tasks. In order to avoid conflicts between the two sides, they also had to carry out the follow-up plans. Bruce had no choice but to act. They were divided into different groups, and each of them had their own plan. Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Bruce were the main force. Their task was to find the body that Ultron wanted. Only if they stopped these things from happening, they could give a blow to Ultron. In this way, everyone took action. "Bruce, what's your plan this time?" On the aircraft, Captain America looked at Bruce and said. Bruce was not an Avenger after all, so he didn't need the command of the Captain American for any action. "I'm going to help the twins. They must have been controlled by the Loki scepter. If they go against us again, it will be difficult for us to succeed." Everyone nodded. It would be even better if Bruce could deal with the twins. They even wanted the twins to be part of their team. After that, Bruce, dressed in a black suit of armor, left the plane directly. He knew that the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were just around the corner. After finding them, he would completely finish his task. Everything was under his control, and everything was going steadily. Chapter 111, Vision. Will Mr. Bruce come back to see us? At this time, in a block, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch seemed to be waiting for something. They had been waiting here for a long time and had already gotten rid of Ultron, not arousing any suspicion. The only issue was, Quicksilver wasn't sure whether Bruce would come back for them. If it wasn't for the gold that Bruce had given them before, they didn't even know the meaning of their lives. But for them now, following Bruce was the best thing they were willing to do. He'll definitely return, the Scarlet Witch was very sure about this and she believed in Bruce. Meanwhile, on the other side, the battle between Ultron and Captain America had already begun. Because of the limited materials and technical components, Ultron had only created a few robots. Moreover, without the twins' help, Ultron was at a disadvantage immediately. Boom! At this moment, Bruce was dressed in a black armor, landing in front of the twins. Excitement appeared on Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch's faces when they saw Bruce again. Especially the Scarlet Witch, her eyes were filled with tears. Bruce had given them the meaning of life. Without Bruce, there would not be them now. Without any hesitation, the Scarlet Witch threw herself straight into Bruce's arms. Although they did not leave for a long time, the Scarlet Witch had already developed a dependence on Bruce. A smile appeared in Bruce's eyes as he put away his armor. He looked at the Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch in his arms and said, "You've done a good job this time. I'm glad to see that." For them, to get acknowledgement and recognition from Bruce was very important. The mind gem has been in my control. As long as that body resurrects, you will be in control of it. Of course, if you want to control the gem completely, it still needs more stronger power. The Scarlet Witch left Bruce's arms and started to talk about something serious. Bruce, of course, knew what she was going to talk about. This was the last chance to create Vision. In the plot of Avengers, Age of Ultron, the birth of Vision depended on Dr. Banner and Iron Man, but what gave birth to Vision in the end was Thor's thunder and lightning. It was actually that thunder and lightning gave Vision real life. The Scarlet Witch had already done everything for Bruce, and now all left was Bruce's last move. "Now you follow me to help Captain America and you will officially become a member of us," Bruce said, and he already had a plan for the next step. Now that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were on his side, it was time for them to become real Avengers. As long as things went on in his plan, almost half of them would be in his control. The big battle Sokovia must break out, so the final battle of the Avengers, Age of Ultron, definitely must be there. Black Widow would surely be taken away. Only when the big battle Sokovia broke out between the two sides, could develop the plot of Marvel's Captain America: Civil War. Remember, no matter what will happen, you must be careful, especially you, Pietro. In the future, the people you will face are all those with strong power. Don't be arrogant excessively and underestimate everything. Bruce looked at the Quicksilver again. He didn't want the Quicksilver to die at this stage. "Yes, Mr. Bruce." Originally, Quicksilver was a little bit arrogant, but after hearing Bruce's words, he restrained himself. "Now, let's get started. See you soon." After saying that, Bruce directly put on his armor and flew away. The Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch glanced at each other and started to attack. The following battle was exactly what Bruce had expected. With the help of the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Captain America successfully got the body of Vision. But after seeing the twins' moves, Captain America showed a trace of confusion and vigilance in his eyes. "It is Mr. Bruce who asks us to do so. He helps us get rid of Ultron's control." Quicksilver looked at Captain America and said directly. After hearing Bruce's name, Captain America suppressed his doubts for the time being. And when they were ready to leave, only the Black Widow disappeared. Bruce didn't make any move throughout the battle. He just protected the Hawkeye with the Vision body and returned to the Avengers base. This battle could be said to be a complete victory. But the disappearance of the Black Widow made people unpleasant. When Iron Man saw the body of Vision, he directly took Dr. Banner to the laboratory. Except for Bruce, even Captain America and others did not know about it for the time being. Bruce followed Captain America to the Avengers base. In the battle, the Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch's participation made Captain America have some doubts in his mind. He still couldn't fully trust the twins. "Bruce, are you sure that they are completely controlled by the scepter before?" In a room, Captain America looked at the twins and asked again. "That's right. In the battle against Ultron, I helped them reset their memories. They realize what they have done before is wrong and finally choose the side of justice." Bruce felt a little strange when he said the word justice. He never knew what exactly justice was. On the contrary, he had never even thought of becoming a member of justice. That would be too exhausting. Captain, Mr. Bruce let us know what we had done before was wrong. Now we want to fight side by side with you. Quicksilver was very smart. He knew Bruce's plan, so he directly said these without any hesitation. Because Bruce had once made Hawkeye wake up, therefore Captain America had basically believed in the twins. At the same moment, Bruce looked at Captain America and said, "Where are Stark and Banner?" As soon as he said that, Captain America's face changed greatly. Oh no! He always knew that Iron Man had not given up on his plan at all. Now the sudden disappearance of Iron Man made him realize something. Without any hesitation, he led Bruce and the others directly to the lab. That was the physical body created by Ultron. Once it was used improperly, it might cause extra troubles to them. This was what Captain America didn't want to face. As expected, when they arrived at the lab, Dr. Banner and Iron Man were reforming the body. "Stark, stop what you're doing." Captain America was very serious. He held the shield as if he was ready to attack at any time. However, at this moment, Iron Man was very determined to go his own way. He directly turned on the control system in his hand. Captain America attacked, and the shield directly destroyed the device. "You don't understand at all what I'm going to do," Iron Man said, who wanted to use other ways to help the body of the Vision. However, the battle had begun. Even the Hawkeye had joined the battle. Dr. Banner was unable to transform right now, and for a moment, Iron Man was at a disadvantage. At this moment, there was a flash of lightning in Bruce's eyes. Boom! In an instant, he appeared on the body of the Vision, and endless thunder and lightning were converging. Chapter 112, Birth. At this moment, everyone had seen this scene. "Bruce, what are you doing?" Captain America's face appeared with a hint of shock when he saw Bruce's action. Dr. Banner and Iron Man were also both shocked by Bruce's action. At the moment, the powerful lightning poured into Bruce's body continuously. These lightning bolts were extremely powerful, reaching tens of thousands of volts at high pressure. Boom! The next moment, all the lightning rushed into Vision's body, which made everything around shake heavily. Right now, Bruce could sense that Vision's body was shaking with an enormous power. Bang! Bruce landed directly. And he stared at the Vision that was forming slowly. At the moment, everyone was very nervous. I think Stark was right. After hearing Bruce's words, the Iron Man nodded his head slowly. Boom! Then the entire ship was blasted apart directly. A powerful force shook the ship, with an intense light shining. Suddenly, a red figure appeared from inside. He looked very confused and broke the glass directly and flew to the window. At the moment, everyone was staring at this scene nervously. No one knew the person in front of them was an enemy or an ally. Huh? What's going on? At the moment, Thor appeared. He couldn't understand what was going on here when he watched the messy laboratory. In the original plot, the birth of Vision was caused by Thor's last blow. But now, Bruce had already taken a step ahead and replaced him. At the moment, no one replied to Thor. Because their eyes were all fixed on the red figure, they wanted to know what was going on. Right now, it did not make any sense for Captain America to blame Iron Man. Because things had happened and could not be stopped. At the moment, Vision was not confused anymore after acclimatizing his body. It seemed he knew the meaning of its birth. Beep, congratulations, you have completed the task of giving birth to Vision. Beep, congratulations, you have obtained 8,000 points of energy value. The sound of the system sounded again, and the energy value reached 8,000 directly. This number was far bigger than Bruce had gained in the past. At the moment, the birth of the Vision meant that Bruce had finished his task. Beep, the new mission, the host gets to know Scott Lang, who has yet to become Ant-Man, and get his trust. Another mission was issued. At the moment, Bruce had understood that all tasks the system gave to him were paving a way for him to control all the superheroes in the whole Marvel movie. And all of this was under his control. Right now, the Avengers, Age of Ultron hadn't ended yet, but Bruce was actually close to the next part of the plot. But the new task could be put aside for the time being. As for where Ant-Man was, he had a lot of ways to look for. At present, the most important was the Vision in front of him. "Who are you?" At the moment, Captain America said with great vigilance when he saw Vision walking into the base slowly. Even the Dr. Banner and Iron Man weren't sure this new person was an enemy or a friend. At the moment, everyone was very vigilant and ready to act at any time. But Bruce just slightly narrowed his eyes. Whether he would be able to control the Vision, just need to watch the Vision's following action. "I'm Ultron." "No, I'm not it, and I'm not Jarvis either." At first, the Vision was a little confused, but when it saw Bruce, a vague idea came into its mind. Acknowledging allegiance itself to this man, let him be its master. At the moment, the mind gem on its forehead flashed a hint of red light without being noticed by anyone. That was the Scarlet Witch's control over him. "Who are you? Which side are you on?" At that moment, Iron Man spoke. He had already embedded the codes to Jarvis' system, but his creation in front didn't make him feel any familiar sense, and he was very confused about this point. Whereafter, the Vision walked towards Bruce slowly. When he wanted to greet him, he saw Bruce's eyes. It knew that this wasn't the right time yet. Originally, Vision was an artificial intelligence. Right now, however, it had been given life and intelligence, making it a lot smarter. Although it still didn't know many things, it could understand Bruce's eyes. "I stand by the side of life. Although my body was created by Ultron, I'm not him. I'm protecting life, and it is also protecting life, but we are different. That I am not Ultron's man." What it just said was the second meaning of its birth. And the first meaning of its birth was to obey Bruce absolutely and unconditionally. Because before its birth, the Scarlet Witch had brainwashed it many times. Therefore, for Vision, Bruce was like its master. "How can we trust you?" At the moment, Captain America still did not trust Vision. He was very vigilant. He had to be alert because the high-tech robots created by humans had a terrible ability. So he must keep an eye. And sometimes he missed the past, because he was the product of the highest technology at that time. "That will depend on you." Vision smiled, then it lifted the Mjolnir directly, and placed it in front of Thor. At the moment, everyone present was stunned, especially Thor. He was very embarrassed by its behavior. The thing on its forehead is called Mind Gem, which has the most powerful and mysterious power in the universe. It might be the key to defeat the Ultron. At the moment, Thor said so while looking at everyone. Because he was the only one who knew what conditions required for lifting the Mjolnir. More importantly, the fact it could lift the Mjolnir means that it can become one of us. And this was also why he had never doubted Bruce. After hearing Thor's words, Captain America and others no longer doubted it. "I've just received the latest news that Ultron is in Sokovia." At the moment, Hawkeye spoke. Black Widow had just sent him this message. "Then what are we waiting for? The Avengers have already assembled." At the moment, Iron Man said. Although he did not know much about Vision, it seemed that he had not created a demon. At this moment, the Vision walked to Bruce's side and said, "Thank you very much. Can we have a chat?" When the people present saw this scene, they did not doubt it at all. Because Bruce also helped to create Vision. Then, Bruce nodded. He knew that his plan had succeeded. Whereafter, Silver and Scarlet Witch also left. At the moment, everyone started to prepare and their goal was focused on Sokovia. Then Bruce followed the Vision outside. "My consciousness tells me that you're my creator, and you're like my father." At the moment, Vision spoke. What it said was the Scarlet Witch injected into its mind. But Bruce didn't say anything directly. He just stared at the Vision and then looked down at the prosperous city below. "Yes, I created you. In theory, I am your father, but you are an independent individual, so do what you want." At the moment, he did not request Vision to be his man and obey him directly, because it didn't make any sense. After hearing Bruce's words, Vision nodded its head heavily. For it, Bruce's words were the principle of its actions. Chapter 113, Attack. This time, Bruce's plan was so perfect that there was no flaw. At the moment, he not only convinced the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch to become his men, but he had also fully mastered the Vision. In addition, Peter Parker, the little Spider-Man, who had not appeared yet, had also been his man. Among all the Avengers, 4 guys were already his men. Therefore, if he acted in the future, he would be in a more favorable position. It was a very good thing for Bruce, which also meant that he would control everything. If you have any problems in the future, you can come to me directly. At the moment, Bruce directly stared at the Vision and said. Vision nodded. At the moment, the most important thing for it was to obey Bruce in its memory. As if it was born with it. Then, Bruce patted on Vision's shoulder absently as if he was encouraging it. And Vision also thought he was encouraging it. At the moment, Bruce couldn't let anyone know that he was able to download other people's abilities, because this was his biggest secret. Whether it was the Scarlet Witch or Vision, he couldn't tell either of them. Even if they were loyal to him. At the moment, when Bruce touched Vision's body, all the information and panel appeared in front of him. Name, Vision. Identity, Vision, an evolution of artificial intelligence. Ability, Mind Gem. The universe-level strength can't be parsed for the time being. Soul Rays, energy value, 5,000, high-quality vibranium body, 3,000, body blur, energy value, 3,000, flying ability, energy value, 2,000. There were a total of 5 abilities on the Vision. And the most powerful of these abilities was the Mind Gem on its head, because it was the source of its power. But it could not be downloaded for the time being. As for the Soul Rays, it was a kind of powerful radiation sent out by the Mind Gem. Its highest temperature was tens of thousands of degrees high, which was extremely powerful. At the moment, Bruce would not consider this ability either. Also, Vision's body was almost made by vibranium, which was a strong defense. But it was not as strong as Bruce's War God body, so he wouldn't download it either. At present, his energy value was very plenty, but this was not a reason for him to waste it. As for the flying ability, Vision relied on its own power to fly, which was different from the Scarlet Witch and the Iron Man. But the speed was not very fast, which could only fly a short distance. Therefore, Bruce didn't consider this either. Then, after thinking of it for a while, Bruce intended to download the ability of the body blur directly. This ability could make his body turn completely into blur and penetrate any object. Even pass through walls. This also meant that Bruce was able to ignore any defenses of his enemy directly. But the body blur was unable to penetrate the energy such as light energy, which was also its disadvantage. But even so, Bruce's power also could get improved greatly. Therefore, without any hesitation, he directly chose to download the ability of body blur on the Vision. Beep, connection successful. Beep, 3,000 energy value required, would you like to proceed? Yes. He didn't hesitate at all and directly chose to download it. Beep, download complete. Beep, congratulations, you have obtained the body blur ability. After the system's sound rang, Bruce's originally strong and unparalleled cells changed again. At the moment, his every cell was changing, from pale to transparent in the end. The surrounding steel walls and other defenses all could not stop him. This was the ability of the body blur. It didn't add much to Bruce's attack ability, but in a certain aspect, it was more helpful to Bruce than high-speed movement. Because there couldn't be anything blocking in front when Bruce used the high-speed movement. But now, Bruce would not put those defenses into his eyes at all. At this time, Bruce was very satisfied with this ability. Everybody, come together. Captain America looked at Vision and Bruce, said directly. At the moment they had already prepared everything. What they needed to do now was to attract Ultron head-on. Everyone had already changed into their combat clothes, and their eyes were full of determination. Then Bruce also followed them into the Quinjet, and all the Avengers gathered together. This time, unlike before, they had confirmed their goal. At this moment, Captain America was serious and stood in front of everyone. Ultron knows that we'll go. It is in Sokovia now. There are many common people there, so our main mission is to attract him head-on and evacuate the common people at the same time. The power that Avengers broke out would be horrible if they fought in Sokovia. Because there was nowhere on Earth would be able to stand their power of this fight, not to mention a small place like Sokovia. The Avengers were too powerful, and the Ultron were also constantly gathering its own soldiers, because Ultron wanted to protect the Earth by destroying it directly. At the moment, if they wanted to fight freely, they had to remove all limits. Ultron is the most opposed person to Stark at present. So, to get more time to evacuate the common people, Stark, you need to distract it. At the moment, Captain America had already planned everything. He was indeed with good command ability. Although his strength was not strong, he was an indispensable guy in Avengers. Because he was the only one who could always unite the Avengers together. I've been wanting to talk to Ultron for a long time. At the moment, Iron Man's face was solemn when he spoke. In some way, Ultron was created by him, so it also had to be ended by him. This time, the Ultron is waiting for us. So we have to make good preparations. Its strength will be greatly weakened without a mind gem. Therefore, we have to destroy all robots in Sokovia. Otherwise, our battle will fail. At the moment, Captain America had commanded the final order, which was also their plan. Iron Man and Banner were very familiar with the Ultron. They knew that it didn't have the real body. In fact, it was just a pile of datas. Therefore, as long as the core data was still there, every robot was all its body. So if they wanted to kill Ultron, they had to kill all the robots. And they also knew that Ultron had already run out of resources of Sokovia to make robots. This was an important point, which could not be ignored. Everyone must complete their own tasks. At the moment, everyone present nodded. As for Hill and Fury, they were the commanders of the remote control system. Once there was any accident, they would immediately offer support to Avengers. We need you to kill Ultron in the end, Vision. At the moment, Captain America looked at Vision. Vision had the mind gem, so he could kill Ultron definitely with the power of the gem. Then Vision nodded. Because he also had already received Bruce's same order before. Now, let's start the attack. At that moment, everyone looked down from the Quinjet. That was Sokovia. Chapter 114, War. At this moment, everyone was prepared. They glanced at each other, then jumped out from the aircraft. The first they had to do was to evacuate the crowd. Because when the war broke out, these common people could not bear it. At the moment, Iron Man's mission was to hold Ultron in place, and Vision, as the person who knew the Ultron best, would use the Mind Gem's power to delete the data of Ultron from the network completely. This was the only way for them to kill the Ultron completely. After all, Ultron was not a true existence. It could be possible to recombine again if there was the slightest chance left. And the Vision was the biggest enemy of Ultron. Bruce, go and bring Natasha Romanoff here. We need assistance, said Captain America. Bruce nodded, and then everyone walked out from the fighter jet and started to move. As for the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, it was the first time for the twins to face such a big war, so they could not help feeling very nervous. But when they saw Bruce standing in front of them, they felt relieved. At the moment, as long as Bruce was around, they weren't afraid of anything. More importantly, they had gotten a lot of battle experience from the training that Bruce had taught them before. Otherwise, no matter how powerful the twins were, they would not help too much in this battle either. At this time, Avengers had already left the fighter jet and took action respectively. At the moment, the war had not begun yet, so the first thing was to evacuate the crowd. And Bruce's task was to rescue Black Widow first. The Hawkeye had used a special method to find out the exact location of Black Widow before, so Bruce only needed to go to the designated location directly. Soon after, Bruce arrived at an underground prison. The facilities here were very rough. It was obvious that it was created by Ultron temporarily. After the Vision was robbed, Ultron was forging robots constantly and crazily. Maybe the number of robots was already enough to destroy the whole of Sokovia. On the other side, Scarlet Witch and others had already started evacuating the crowd. They were all people with superpowers, so they were quite good at this. So, after a short time, most of the people have already been evacuated. Everyone had an interphone in their ears, so they could obey orders at any time. At the moment, the entire Sokovia was in a state of chaos and noise and could hear all kinds of screams and cars singing one after another. Even though the Scarlet Witch had the power of controlling people's minds, there were too many people here, so it was impossible to evacuate them in a short time. At the moment Bruce arrived at a prison, he released his senses and found Black Widow quickly. "I knew you would come and save me." At the moment, Black Widow's face appeared with a hint of smile when she saw Bruce. Ultron caught her, but he didn't do anything to her. Because in the eyes of Ultron, the most important was to destroy the Earth. As for the others, it didn't give them attention at all. Of course, except the Iron Man who created him. "Our actions have already begun, and a big battle will happen soon. Hurry up." At the moment, someone else didn't know what would happen in Sokovia, but Bruce knew it clearly. No one could know better about the Ultron's plan than him. More importantly, there would be many robots appearing constantly later. They were a large amount of energy for Bruce. Therefore, he couldn't waste any more time. Boom! The moment the iron door was opened, the whole Earth was shaking violently. Then numerous cracks appeared on the ground constantly, which made Black Widow a little frightened by the continuous sound. What's going on? At the moment, Bruce knew that Ultron had already been removed from the network by Vision. Vision has removed Ultron from the network, so his will can only be placed on the nearby robots. We have to hurry up. The moment the voice of Captain America came, everyone's mind calmed down slowly. It was also at this time that many robots crawled out from the cracks on the ground, constantly killing people and taking action in the town. At this moment, the battle had begun. Boom! At the moment, the entire Sokovia shook even more violently, as if the Earth was about to collapse. And Bruce continued to walk towards the ground. With Black Widow, they needed to join the battle as soon as possible. Crack! At this time, continuous cracks appeared on the ground, and the location of Captain America and others had been completely broken. At this moment, Sokovia seemed to be flying. Everyone, Ultron is ready to lift Sokovia to a certain height, and then land freely, just like a comet crashing into the Earth. And now the diameter of Sokovia that he has raised up is already enough to destroy the Earth. At the moment, Iron Man watched everything in the sky and immediately told all the information he knew. Everyone was shocked by these words. Did Ultron really want to destroy the Earth completely? We have to stop him. At that moment, Captain America looked serious. This time, the war had completely exceeded the previous New York War. At that time, they still had a chance to fight, but if they didn't stop Sokovia right now, there would definitely be a big disaster. Stark, is there any way to stop it? At the moment, Hawkeye asked. The Avengers were currently busy with dealing with the robots on the street. At this time, these robots wouldn't treat them. The most important thing for them was to stop Sokovia. There's a central control device in the center of the church. As long as it stops, then Sokovia will stop. Iron Man said this directly. Then, Captain America commanded an order again to control the central control. The control is made of vibranium, so it's very difficult to destroy it. At that moment, Iron Man said again, and in the outside world, more and more robots created by Ultron had appeared. These robots did not have any consciousness, and they were completely controlled by the Ultron. Right now, they were like locusts rushing to Avengers constantly. At this moment, Bruce had already led Black Widow out of the underground prison. After getting out from the prison, the Black Widow also saw this shocking scene. At the moment, the Sokovia in front of her had already begun to rise into the sky, like an island floating in the air. This was the first time for Black Widow to see such a scene. I've never seen this before I became an Avenger. At the moment, even the Black Widow was frightened by this. No matter what, she was just a human. How could she have seen such a scene? Perhaps it will be even more shocking. Let's begin fighting. Bruce laughed, then he put on his battle armor directly and led the Black Widow to the floating Sokovia. When they got Sokovia, it was like everything around them had collapsed. Like the ruins of a big war, countless people screamed and whined. In the sky and on the earth, robots were everywhere. Chapter 115, Massacre. Right now, the entire city was flying in the sky. Sokovia had already gone up tens of thousands of meters in less than half an hour. Putting aside the fact that Ultron used the reverse supportive pushing device, even if Ultron didn't use it, if the city smashed down from this height, it could also destroy a large area. But it was still not as high as Ultron expected yet. Because its goal was to destroy the whole world, not just the Sokovia, so this height was not enough for Ultron. What should we do now? At the moment, Black Widow looked at Bruce. She didn't know why Bruce stood there and could give her a sense of security. As for Bruce, he slowly took off his armor, clenched his fists tightly and stared at the ground filled with robots. His face appeared with a hint of a smile. Then he said, "Let's fight." Without any hesitation, Bruce made his move. He directly punched a robot down, and under the powerful force, the robot couldn't stand it at all. At this moment, Black Widow seemed to see Bruce massacring Shitori alone in the sky in the previous New York War. He is really an amazing man. After saying that, Black Widow also participated in the battle. At the moment, all of the Avengers began to fight while evacuating the crowd. These robots did not give much attention to their lives. Therefore, it was impossible for Avengers to deal with so many robots if they were not strong enough. Boom! At the moment, Bruce shoots continuous lightning, wreaking constant heat. Then he appeared around Captain America and struck Captain America's shield with powerful lightning. Boom! After that, the shield busted out dozens of thick lightning immediately. In a sudden, the surrounding robots all exploded and turned into parts and pieces. The next moment, Bruce disappeared directly, heading towards another battlefield. Thor. At the moment, there were still questions on Captain America's face before he had time to react. He couldn't tell the person who had just released such lightning was Bruce or Thor. After all, this power of controlling thunder and lightning was really too strong. "Captain, are you looking for me?" Boom! At this moment, Thor cracked heavily against the ground, holding Mjolnir. In an instant, powerful bolts of lightning wreaked havoc everywhere, shattering everything around them. Then dozens of robots couldn't stand the lightning at all and they were all destroyed. At that moment, Captain America looked at Thor, nodding, and said, "It's Bruce." After speaking, Captain America headed directly for another battlefield, but his words made Thor a bit confused. But he did not hesitate and continued to fight. Before that, Ultron had long discovered their existence, so they did not have time to evacuate the common people yet. Therefore, they not only had to fight with the robots, but also evacuate the crowd. Boom! Right now, Bruce's entire body was surrounded by lightning. More importantly, his speed was so fast that those robots in front of him were like paper, so he had cleaned up a large number of robots in less than 10 minutes. Boom! At the moment, Quicksilver appeared by Bruce's side at an extremely fast speed. He was powerful enough originally, but plus Bruce's previous training, he was more strong right now. "Mr. Bruce, it feels good to fight side by side with you." After hearing that, Bruce laughed when another bolt of thunder continued to wreak havoc in the sky. The violent lightning was like a giant dragon, crashing heavily onto the ground. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At the moment, the blazing lightning continued to wreak havoc. In an instant, this place seemed to turn into a sea of lightning, surging continuously. Then one by one, the robots were all cracked and there was no one being able to stand such power. "Go find Wanda and try your best to protect her." Bruce looked at the Quicksilver and said, then he left directly. After hearing this, Quicksilver nodded and disappeared at once. At the moment, the great battles were still continuing. Thor and Bruce's attacks were the most powerful, they had destroyed large amounts of robots, falling one after another. Boom! At the moment, Mjolnir flew over and fell heavily on the ground, almost tearing the earth apart. Then Bruce picked up the Mjolnir immediately and threw it out directly. Bang bang bang! Those robots were cracked into pieces under such huge power. This kind of powerful strength, along with the Mjolnir, made Bruce invincible here. Are you Asgard? At the moment, Thor once again summoned the Mjolnir while his face was with a hint of doubt. But Bruce didn't speak a word and just headed towards the next battlefield directly, leaving Thor with full doubts. Then he glanced at the Hawkeye next to him. Hawkeye did not answer him either. Right now, Bruce could be said to be slaughtering these robots at Sokovia. Although the robots were extremely strong in defense, Bruce was more powerful than them. More importantly, these robots weren't made of vibranium, so it was almost impossible for them to stand Bruce's attack. At this moment, Ultron stayed in the sky and it had long realized this. So its eyes appeared a hint of scary. Thor, who is that? Bruce, I don't know much information about him. Could it be a new Avenger? At the moment, Ultron had already felt the danger emanating from Bruce. If he let this person continue fighting, then the robots that he created wouldn't be able to stand it at all. Boom! Then without any hesitation, Ultron directly made his move and appeared by Bruce's side in an instant. Bang! In an instant, Ultron shot out a powerful force and a stream of red energy which was like a flame. Anything that touched the red ray was almost disintegrated instantly. At the moment, Bruce's eyes flashed and his face appeared with a hint of a smile. Boom! Bruce didn't intend to avoid it at all. He just relied on his own power to face the powerful red rays directly. Sizzle! At the moment, Ultron didn't expect that this human in front of him was so bold, even could stand its rays directly. Because even Thor, who was a member of the divine race, would probably not dare to do so. Humans are still as stupid as ever. Do you really think that you can give no attention to everything with your own strength? At this moment, continuous dust appeared around Bruce. Everything around him seemed to have been evaporated by the powerful force, and nothing was able to stop it at all. At the moment, in Ultron's eyes, Bruce had already died. But in the next moment, Bruce walked out from the red ray safely. And he looked at Ultron in front of him, a hint of smile appearing on his face. It's impossible. At the moment, Ultron's face changed greatly, and he wanted to make another move immediately. But Bruce would not give him the chance. His body was constantly shooting out powerful energy. In an instant, Bruce appeared in front of Ultron and cracked down with his fist. Ultron was originally slightly shocked, but now his face appeared with a hint of a smile. Because its body was almost made of vibranium. How could a human's attack work out? Bang! But the moment Bruce's fist cracked his body, the powerful force made Ultron shocked completely. At the moment, its body, which was made of vibranium, after being hit by Bruce's punch, was directly caved in. Chapter 116, Ultron. At this moment, Ultron was completely shocked. Although it was an artificial intelligence, he had his own thoughts. Every aspect was almost the same as human except its body. More importantly, it has surpassed many humans in intelligence. Everyone in the world knew how powerful the vibranium was. And vibranium was also what it relied on. But at the moment, its vibranium body was bent directly by Bruce's punch. How incredible it was! No! At the moment, Ultron emanated a powerful force, shouting loudly. Then two red lights emanated continuously from its hands. Sizzle! At the moment, that powerful force was attacking on Bruce constantly, even causing the surrounding area to evaporate, extremely terrifying. But Ultron was amazed that its attack actually didn't work out at all. Boom! The next moment, Bruce's entire body shot out the fierce lightning, continuously attacking Ultron. Even if the vibranium was the most powerful, but after all, it was just a metal. Therefore, as long as the power reached a certain level, even the vibranium also could not stand completely. Sizzle! The next moment, Ultron ran away directly. At the moment, in its eyes, Bruce was too dangerous. All attacks did not work at all for Bruce. If it let this go on, it would die in this place directly. Because Vision had removed it from the network completely before. Therefore it could only connect with those robots now. But once all the robots were destroyed by them, it would die soon. At the moment, Bruce didn't chase Ultron, he had other things to do. He was so powerful right now that even the final boss of Avengers, Age of Ultron, could not do any harm to him. This was the promotion of strength. Stark, have you found a solution? At this moment, Bruce's voice came through the interphone. Before this, Iron Man had been trying to figure out a way to help Sokovia land safely. During this period of time, Sokovia had already risen tens of thousands of meters high. At the moment, even if there was no reverse strength to push it, if it fell down, which would also cause unimaginable disaster. I have a solution now, which is to blow up the whole floating Sokovia. Although it will cause a loss, it is still under control. At the moment, the voice of Iron Man came out, and he had thought of a solution. But this solution had to give up something. There are still thousands of people on this floating island now in the air. If you do this, we can't accept the results. At the moment, Captain America, of course, knew the meaning of Iron Man, so he directly said so. Because his goal was to save everyone, whether it was at the top or ground. We have to choose some people because it is impossible for us to save everyone. Then Iron Man said. He couldn't do anything either. But he knew clearly that if the huge comet-like city fell down, no one would be able to bear the result. In fact, Avengers all knew its result, but it was just too difficult for them to make such a choice and no one can accept it. Don't worry, we'll find a way. At this moment, Bruce had just dealt with a robot, and then he spoke directly. The Avengers were all doubtful. Bang! At this time, there was a continuous roar coming out, and then they saw a huge helicarrier rise up. Bruce knows us better. At the moment, Fury's voice came out, making all the people present smile. Some of my old friends have refurnished it, which may be able to help you. With the helicarrier here, it would be much easier for them to help people retreat. Everyone, set off now and get all the civilians to retreat. At the moment, Captain America issued an order to take away all of Sokovia's commoners and protect them. In fact, Bruce was not too sad about this disaster. When everyone was trying to evacuate the crowd, right now, for Bruce, his only goal was to fight and then gain more energy value. Because his energy value was never enough before, he did not relax at all in this battle, because this battle was a good chance to gain more energy value. As long as he can gain energy value all the time, he could become stronger constantly. That was the most important for him, so he couldn't give up. At the moment after Ultron fought with Bruce, it felt an unprecedented crisis. In its eyes, Bruce had become an extremely dangerous existence, but it couldn't do anything to Bruce, because Bruce's strength had already exceeded its expectations. At the moment, the most important thing for Ultron was to destroy the Earth. So it just needed waiting for a time. When Sokovia reached a certain height, even if it landed on the ground freely, it would also cause a huge disaster. At that time, no matter how strong Bruce was, he wouldn't be able to stop its plan. Therefore, for Ultron, the most important thing right now was to complete its own plan. At the moment, when everyone was helping retreat, Bruce's attention was completely focused on the twins. Because in the Avengers, Age of Ultron, Quicksilver died to save the Hawkeye. In this plot, however, Bruce absolutely couldn't let it happen again. At this time, the battle had entered a white-hot stage, and more robots were coming towards them directly like locusts. Even though Captain America and others were very strong, an ant could bite an elephant to death. No matter how strong they were, they could not stand so many robots. Captain, the most important thing right now is to stop those robots from snagging the controller. If they push the button, the entire Sokovia will fall. At that moment, the voice of Iron Man came out. He was currently trying to come up with a way to smash Sokovia completely. And after Fury appeared, the war machines also joined the battle. At the moment, most of the common people had already been transferred to another place by the joint attack of them. Right now, the Avengers had to defend the defense line. Because only when these ordinary people were all transferred away, could they all fight together. Clang! At this moment, the Hawkeye was saving a child. And after Quicksilver seeing this, he acted directly and disappeared instantly. At the same time, Bruce also had noticed this, and his eyes flashed out a hint of light. Buzz! In an instant, Bruce appeared in front of Quicksilver and helped him block a robot's attack directly. These robots' attack methods were very powerful. It was also difficult for Quicksilver to resist even with a special body. Although Quicksilver's body had become exceptionally strong after Bruce's training, he was still unable to stand those powerful attacks. Therefore, at this moment, Bruce blocked the attack directly that Quicksilver would take originally. This move could be said to have completely changed Quicksilver's fate. At the moment, Quicksilver also saw this scene, and his heart was still beating with fear. If Bruce hadn't helped him, his physical body wouldn't stand these attacks at all. Although his speed was very fast, he didn't have the sense of battle on many aspects. Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Right now, the Quicksilver was very grateful to Bruce. Everyone, the final battle is about to begin. Let's gather. The voice of Captain America came out, which let everyone gather together. This marks the end of part 15 of the story Marvel Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.